Hey, welcome in. Well, there's been a lot of talk about Trudeau. He's on video talking about a reset. A reset. Here's the headline. Trudeau talks about reset to imagine new economic systems to fit UN 2030 agenda. This is from the nationaltelegraph.com. Now, reset, that sounds like a reset. Reset doesn't sound like incremental change or anything like that. I mean, Canada is a parliamentary political system, and the effect of it has always been kind of incremental change. It's not reset. Reset means like starting over. That's what it sounds like to me. That doesn't sound like incremental change. That sounds like recklessness. And of course, it sounds like exactly the sort of thing that Justin Trudeau would like. So let's just get to the video here and take a look at this. What did he say exactly?
The last 6 months have laid bare fundamental gaps and inequities within our societies and between them. As with climate change, those who have the least are impacted the most. That's why last spring, Canada worked with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Secretary General Antonio Guterres to convene a high-level meeting to discuss how leaders around the world could work together to close these gaps and build a better, more equitable system that works for everyone. In May, we agreed to look at 6 urgent areas of action to mobilize financing for the response and the recovery. Over the course of the summer, our 6 working groups produced over 250 policy options. On September 8th, finance ministers gathered to discuss these options and the recommendations.
Now, first off, I'm just going to cut him off there for a second. He loves to talk about inequities all the time. And in this case here, he's talking about like global inequities. Well, nope, the world didn't elect him to be Prime Minister of the world. He was elected to be Prime Minister of Canada. Perhaps Canadians might think that perhaps he should be worried about Canada, not the world, especially right now. Do Canadians have the luxury of worrying about every other country in the world right now? Probably not. Anyway, let's continue.
For the short, medium, and long term. The most promising ideas will be taken up within existing IMF and World Bank processes, as well as at the G7 and G20 leaders summits later in the fall. Then, in December, we're going to have the opportunity to meet again to discuss the progress we've made. Because we understand that right now we have to fix urgent problems, but in the long run, we also have to fix the system so that it works for everyone. To eliminate this virus anywhere.
Okay, the system. What does he mean by that exactly? I mean, this is the way that, like, SJWs talk, right? The system. You got to fix the system. Well, what system? Does anybody, like, do Canadians want Justin Trudeau to fix their system? And what does he mean by system? Of course, it's totally vague. It doesn't mean anything, right? But anyway, let's continue.
We need to eliminate it everywhere. While scientists work around the clock to develop a vaccine, as governments, we have the responsibility to ensure it'll be distributed quickly and fairly around the world. On Friday, I announced that Canada will provide $440 million to the COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access Facility, including $220 million to the Advanced Market Commitment to help low and middle-income countries access vaccines. This is an important initiative, and I encourage other governments to join in as well. We need to work together, and not just on vaccines. Canada believes that a strong, coordinated response across the world and across sectors is essential. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance.
So he just said the pandemic has offered an opportunity for a reset. If you're suspicious of people who see this as an opportunity, you're right to be suspicious. That is not where your mind should be going to. Opportunity for what? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality.
Reimagine economic systems? Reimagine economic systems. Nobody voted him in. Nobody voted for Justin Trudeau to reimagine economic systems. And if anybody did, I don't think there was really that many of them. And why is he so worried about the rest of the world's economic systems? Canada has its hands full, especially after his leadership. Canada has its hands full with its own problems. Okay, let's go.
And climate change. Last week, our government committed to investing more in international development while supporting developing countries on their economic recoveries and resilience. And on that note, today, I can announce that Canada will invest $400 million more in humanitarian and development funding, which will go directly to trusted partners on the ground fighting COVID-19. Our government is committed to investing even more in the years to come. In addition, we will continue to advocate for extending the debt service suspension initiative. We will also work on ensuring the special needs of small island developing states and other vulnerable countries are taken into account. Building back better.
Okay, so this money all has to be borrowed. So this is all debt on Canadians, Canadian taxpayers, that he seems very excited about giving away. What if we end up in like a serious, real depression, a long-lasting depression? I'm not sure that Canadians really want to give all of the resources away to everybody else in the world so that Justin Trudeau can feel good about himself. All right, let's keep going.
Means getting support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs. Canada is here to listen and to help.
So he was talking there about a 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is a UN thing. So what is this? What is this 2030 Agenda thing that he never mentioned? I don't recall him mentioning it in the election. Well, first off, it started in 2015, so it's already 5 years in. And when he's talking about opportunity, I'm thinking this is what he's talking about. What is it? This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. So basically everything. People and planet, that's everything, right? See, what do they want to do? We're not going to go through all of this because it would take way too long, but there'll be a link in the description. It says, we are resolved to free the human race. Free the human race, they say, from the tyranny of poverty and want to heal and secure our planet. So is this feeling utopian at all to you yet? Says we are determined to take the bold and transformative steps. Transformative. You ready to be transformed? I'm not sure that I am. Which are urgently needed to shift the world onto a sustainable and resilient path. Let's see, as we embark on this collective journey, which nobody's agreed to, as far as I know, we pledge that no one will be left behind. Let's see, and what are the pillars here? The people. We are determined to end poverty and hunger in all their forms and dimensions, and to ensure that all human beings can fulfill their potential in dignity and equality and in a healthy environment. We've heard these kinds of promises before, haven't we? Led to millions of people starving to death and being repressed. The Soviet Union, Mao's China. We should cast a very skeptical eye on these kinds of claims. And by the way, nobody voted. Nobody voted. The people who voted for Trudeau didn't vote for a 2030 agenda or Agenda 2030. Anyway, what's next? Planet. So they're gonna solve everything for the whole planet. We are determined to protect the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, sustainably managing its natural resources and taking urgent action on climate change, so that it can support the needs of the present and future generations. It all seems nice, doesn't it? All sounds so nice. It all sounds so nice. I've got a feeling, though, the sustainability is going to only extend as far as you, not these people who are doing this, who want to do this. I've got a feeling there's going to be different standards for them in terms of what they eat and if they can fly or not or drive cars, or if their home can be warm in the wintertime. And the thing is, actually, the planet is already moving in this direction anyway. I mean, people are getting wealthier across the globe. Global poverty is going down, or at least it was until all of these lockdowns. 200 years ago, 90% of the world's population was desperately poor. Today, that's about 8%. All these things are happening. The U.S. has actually brought down its carbon footprint. It's one of the few developed nations that actually has. Well, how'd they do that? Well, through fracking, through natural gas. You won't hear about that in the New York Times, though, sadly. Let's see, what else are they saying here? Prosperity. We are determined to ensure that all human beings can enjoy prosperous and fulfilling lives, and that economic, social, and technological process occurs in harmony with nature. What does that mean? I think what it really means is that the people that are part of Agenda 2030 are still getting their Teslas. You're not. And again, it's this language here, determined to ensure that all human beings can enjoy prosperous and fulfilling lives. This is utopian gobbledygook. This is fantasy. Let's see, peace. We are determined to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies which are free from fear and violence. There can be no sustainable development without peace, and no peace without sustainable development. Now, that sounds like a threat, that last part. You're not going to have peace without sustainable development, at least what we call sustainable development. But again, these are ridiculous claims here. This is utopian gobbledygook, which you should very much distrust. Free from fear and violence. Well, what if you disagree with them? Things are pretty much always enforced at the end of a gun. As the utopians and, Soviet Union and China and Cambodia and Cuba, as they've all ended up discovering. Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say, if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. But anyway, the point remains that nobody elected Trudeau for any of this. The reset. Well, you know what? There's something else too. The Great Reset is an actual thing from the World Economic Forum, which is connected to the UN. No surprise there. So is this just a curious choice of words for Trudeau? Or, well, he's into all this stuff. There is an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of the bug crisis. To improve the state of the world, the World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset Initiative. So all of this stuff is just clearly globalist, right? I mean, they say it clearly. I mean, the state of the world. All they talk about is the world. They're not really worried about you. It's the world that they're worried about. Apparently, Trudeau's not worried about Canadians. He's worried about the world. He's concerned with creating a fantasy world in which there are no differences between anybody. Here, as we enter a unique window of opportunity, as Trudeau said, opportunity. To shape the recovery, this initiative will offer insights to help inform all those determining the future state of global relations, at the direction of national economies, the priorities of societies, the nature of business models, and the management of a global commons. This is all just globalism. Again, not concerned with you. It says here, this initiative will offer insights to help inform all those determining the future. All those. Spoiler alert, that's not you, all right? All those is not you. It says here, drawing from the vision and vast expertise of the leaders engaged across the forum's communities, the Great Reset Initiative has a set of dimensions to build on a new social contract that honors the dignity of every human being. Yeah, well, it must be good because they're saying it honors the dignity of every human being. Sure it does. Just like communism, right? But I mean, who's voting for a new social contract? And it's not even shaped by our own leaders, but by some shady, all those determining. So, who did you vote for? I voted for all those determining the future. Who did you vote for? I don't know. I mean, does anybody like the sound of this? I mean, what are we supposed to think when we hear Trudeau talking like this? What are we supposed to think exactly? I mean, all of this reset and Agenda 2030 stuff, this just sounds like crazy utopian stuff. This sounds like what the road to hell is paved with, right? Good intentions, although I also doubt that these are good intentions. But anyway, if you didn't like Trudeau before, here's a great reason to really not like him. To really not like him a lot. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you'd just like to listen, there's Radio Baloney, the podcast. It's on pretty much every platform, including Apple Podcasts. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.